Mike MC Mason from Jack Monkey Games, and watch to the very end and help me identify that strange noise that's in my studio. That's weird. Like, it growls. And I'm in Australia. It can't be good. Today's more of a blog, or vlog, or whatever you want to call it. So, I'm getting ready to run Numenera for the first time. And what I'm doing is I've got this general concept. And it's kind of funny because it started off with this crazy dream I had, and I decided I had to draw it. So I got out my sketch pad and I started working on it, and this is what I got. And then I was thinking, you know what would be really cool is that if the people on it would get on large birds and go back and forth. And then I realized, oh man, I'm running Joust the video game. But then I thought, wait a second, this is Numenera. I could do it, and I could pull it off. It would be cool. So, basically, I've got this world concept in my head. And so what the idea is that it's this city that is connected through these planetoids, and there's ropes on chains that connect them all together. And then there's this large crystal that they're all tied to. And then that crystal gets dragged as these planetoids get pulled by the air currents. So the drawing I have, as you can see, has this large crystal, and it's leaving this plowed trail across the desert. So I thought, that would be really cool. So that's the initial concept. So the players would be playing on that. So now what I had to do is I had to think about some conflict. What would be the conflict? So it's this floating city, and it's being drug around, and the only thing that is touching the ground is this large crystal. Now what happens when the city starts to drift towards a populated area? Because they can't control it. And what happens if that crystal starts to plow through villages or maybe cities? And what happens if those villages and cities are owned by another kingdom? So I'm thinking that's where the conflict is going to be. So the characters are going to be set out to find a way to either move the cities or find a way to change the course of the city, of the floating city. So, and it's Numenera. Both are completely possible. So it's just a matter of figuring out whether or not I'm going to have that through a cipher that might do that, or an artifact, or, but those are MacGuffin kind of things. Maybe what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go and throw the players into a large sandbox and see what they can come up with. Because it could be that maybe they need to offer help, so it might be a diplomatic answer. I don't know if they're going to do a military answer. It all depends on the players. So that's the concept. So I'm going to be doing more of a sandbox. I'm going to be doing more of a situation where I'm going to find out what the players think they're going to do. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to provide an environment in which they're going to get attached to their city. I'm going to find ways that they get attached to the city almost immediately. And I'm going to do that through NPCs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some NPCs, and I'm going to build in the relationships. So because it's Numenera, it helps if it's a little odd. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have some of the people have been turned to glass. Why glass? I don't know. Just sounds cool. So they're still sentient and they can still talk. They just can't move, and they're glass. So one of the NPCs is going to be a glass statue that is attached. They can't move. You can't even move them. They're stuck in time or something. There's some reason. I'll think of something why that's cool that they're stuck. And then I'm going to attach that to more than one NPC. So they just can't say, well, screw it, I'm out of here. So they're attached to the city. The NPC got to create that relationship, and then that relationship is going to be tied to the city. I'm also going to go and add a couple of situations where the players are attached to the city either through occupation or through loyalty. And that may be done through a couple ways. So that's kind of the concept I have. So currently I've created 4 glaives, I've created 4 jacks, and I've created 4 nanos. Which, by the way, if you're not familiar with Numenera, it's kind of like the fighter, the thief, and the wizard, kind of. And that's, sorry, Monty, that's the best description I can give right away, but it doesn't do it any justice. Go get a copy of Numenera. Just do it. It's awesome. So it's by giving the players the choice to pick out these characters that have been pre-generated. What it does is that it means that we can just dive in and start playing. Now this is important because in the game that I'm going to be running, it's going to be, I'm saying it's a one-shot, but it might turn into a campaign. Who knows? We've got some brand new players. Some of these people have never played a role-playing game ever. So I want to get them right into the action. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to be spending an hour creating a character, even through Numenera, which is fairly quick. I don't want to have to go and explain all the different kinds of foci, and just having it right there and ready to go is going to be great. And I am expecting someone to say, well, what should I play? Well, if that happens, I'm just going to say, well, are you tricky? Are you a fighter? Or are you educated? And if they, depending on what they answer, they're either going to get a glaive, a jack, or a nano. So I just want to get them right into it. Now, I know some people are like, well, I don't like pre-generated characters. Well, that's why this is going to be a one-shot. I'm saying this is a one-shot to let that, so we could just dive in. If it turns out that they really like this, I am more than happy to go and create a custom character for it. But you know something? Every time I've done this, the players have become attached to the characters that they were given. And I think that could be because I'm roleplay heavy, not stat heavy. So I don't run things about stats. So there's no real point in going and picking a new character type to maximize your points. And with Numenera, it's not really stat heavy anyways. In fact, there's going to be a video that I'm going to be doing on the differences between crunchy weapons and narrative weapons. Crunchy being like Shadowrun, where each weapon has got all kinds of stats, and then there's the attachments, or Numenera, where it is a weapon is based on their size, and it's more about the story and the flavor that it gives, not so much the damage it does. So now what I'm going to be doing is that after I got the characters, they're ready to go, I'm going to issue them out 3 roll versus roll cards. And the idea behind that, now if you're not familiar with roll versus roll, each of the cards have a role-playing goal. And like, you want to bet, which is where you get into a gambling situation. Or when do we eat, which is where you're obsessed with food for that adventure. And so these role-playing goals, I'm going to issue them out to the players. And then I'm going to ask them to pick the one that best suits their character concept and what they can role-play. Now this is going to be important because they're new players. We do have some experienced players, but there's going to be, I think there's going to be 2 new players that have never played a role-playing game ever. So we'll start with that, see what happens, see if they like it. And then if if they end up role-playing and achieving the goal on the card, I'm going to give them some extra XP. And go from there. So, I've got the character concept. I've got the general concept. I've got the opposition. I've got the characters preset, and I've got the role playing. The other important thing to do is that I need to make sure that all the characters are tied to each other in some way. Now, the nice thing about Numenera is that it's built in. So if you pay attention to that, it's important to go and establish those relationships, because I don't want to have another situation where we spend 2 hours of, oh, I just met you at a bar, I don't trust you, why would I work with you, kind of bullshit. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to make sure that each of the players goes through and explains how they're related to someone else. Okay, so for more Jack Monkey news, I'm still working on Invoke. I've got pretty much all but a little bit of the artwork done. I think there's some bits that I have to do. I think there's like 2 or 3 pieces of art that I have to do, which is actually not bad when you consider that it's an entire game. So at that point, what we're going to do, we're going to be doing some playtesting. Now that's going to be a lot of fun, because the people, we're going to actually record video for that, and we're going to actually make a separate YouTube channel just on my friends playing Invoke. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Rumor has it there's going to be body paint involved. Wow, who do I know that could do some body painting? I'm waiting for a paycheck. So when a paycheck comes in, I'm going to be getting hosting, and then I'm going to be getting Jack Monkey Games up and running again with a even better website. So I've got plans. I've got lots of plans. Let's see. And then I want to do a teaser for the Role vs. Role expansion. Ooh. Yeah, I've only hinted with Imp about this. She's like, get Invoke done first. Okay, yeah, Invoke's going to be done first. We'll do the Kickstarter for Invoke. Then we're going to do the Role vs. Role expansion. So the Role vs. Role expansion, I will let you know this. It uses a completely different mechanic than the original cards. And the players are going to want these cards. So the difference between Role vs. Role, which is where the GM wants these cards, the next deck that actually will integrate with Role vs. Role, the mechanics on them, the players want the cards. Oh, I'm not going to say anything more than that. I have some playtesting to do. Currently, they're it's pretty cool. It's yeah. So you want to help out the show? Click subscribe. Click on the little notification icon. You'll know when I publish next. Buy a copy of Role vs. Role. It's not expensive, and it'll help out your role playing. Leave a comment. Talk to me. I love to talk to people, except for trolls. I just delete them. Watch our playlists. I am gathering up all kinds of playlists from other developers. Some really great stuff. Subscribe to our newsletter. So we're going to be doing some playtesting soon, and we're going to pick the playtesters from our subscriber list. Also, folks, I'm looking to do some collaboration with other YouTube creators. So if you are an RPG YouTube creator, or you're just a creator, like, oh my God, would I love to get Monty Cook or Shauna Germain on this show? That would be freaking awesome. But if you are another YouTube creator, Clay, talk to me, Clay. You know, we should work on something together. Probably have cross interview, or maybe a cross pollination show. Hey, so I want you to listen to this. What is that? I don't know what that sound is. The brr, brr, brr. I have no idea what that sound is.